Hello there, it's Loren. I am here at Tanglewood on a beautiful Friday morning, as usual. I hope you're doing well. Michael, it's good to see you. Let's see. Truly appreciate the wealth of knowledge you provide. Thoughts on drinking sea moss benefits peace and love always. Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm going to come back to your question in just a moment or two. Lao Tenzu, good to see you. Jerry, good to see you. I sent you emails on 20 and 24th March regarding my deposit, whether I could Skype fast. Yes, we can do that. It's no problem. Let's talk. I mean, I'll get back to you. It's been crazy. Stephanie, good to see you. How you doing? I'm well. I'm doing fine. Las Cascadas is pretty much at halt right now. Yes, unfortunately, I mean, everything is moving forward. Well, it's not moving at all in this moment. It's still happening, but there's not much work going on right now. So we're still waiting for the engineers, and there may not be any progress for a little while. That's okay. Sheriff says, why do you think people are overblowing this virus so much? More people die from diabetes every day. Part of me thinks in the US it's political against Trump. I don't know that it's political against Trump. I'm not sure. I'll tell you what, we'll come back to that for sure, because I think this is a really important topic. Obviously, this is, I don't know, some of you might be getting tired of this because, I mean, I don't know how many of you still watch television. I can imagine if you're watching television, it's probably everywhere all the time. There's enough of it online on social media. I don't have television here. Do log on to Facebook every day to respond to messages and comments and so forth. And it's pretty much all I see, but I know it's on people's minds. And so I will definitely get to that. Judy, good to see you. Shaweeb, nice to see you. I'm doing well, thank you. Shaweeb has a question about Ayurveda, and it's a quick one. So I'm going to answer it now, then I'll go back to the top. Ayurveda, for anyone, most of you are probably familiar with Ayurveda. It is a multi-thousand-year-old system from India, and believes that people are classified according to their dosha. Dosha is basically based on body type, and that based on that, there are different diets, there are various treatments, etc. And I suspect, like most systems, like traditional Chinese medicine, which has also been around a long time, like Western allopathic medicine, you wind up relieving people of symptoms without actually ever addressing the underlying issue. I certainly don't believe that the Ayurvedic diet system has anything to it. It's absurd because, like every other species, there is a species-specific diet, and it's not dependent on body type or body size. My own experience running a laboratory of sorts for 12 years, we did a 17-week internship program. 127 people went through it, several of them more than once. And what happened was every single person from 17 to 72 from all over the world thrived eating fruit and soft, tender leafy greens, regardless of their blood type, their body type, their culture, their religion, their ancestry, their shoe size, anything else, okay? Because none of this stuff makes any difference. I mean, the difference that, let me take that back. None of this stuff determines what we should be eating. Now, where you grew up and what your cultural background is might mean that your body is better able to tolerate certain things. In the same way, for instance, that people of Western European origin can tolerate dairy products in a way that the rest of the world cannot. So people from Africa, people from Asia, people from Eastern Europe, okay, all these people are lactose intolerant, with very few exceptions, lactose intolerant, a completely natural condition. Lactose intolerant makes it sound like you have a problem. I'm lactose intolerant. My body's not working right. No, not at all. Lactose is the sugar found in milk. Okay? we are intended to drink breast milk for our first 3, maybe 4 years. And then by age 5, the body stops producing lactase, which is the enzyme that allows us to break down to digest this milk sugar. There's no reason for us to produce lactase because we're not supposed to be consuming milk anymore. Okay, so being lactose intolerant is natural. Now, what's happened is that the people on the planet who come from Western Europe, Northwestern Europe, primarily the countries with the highest dairy consumption are the UK, the US, where a lot of people in the US came from those places, but the US, the UK, Sweden, Switzerland, Holland, and Denmark. And I think that was 7: UK, the US, Sweden, Switzerland, Holland, and I counted 6. I'm not sure, I might be missing one, but I think it's those 6 countries have the highest consumption of dairy products. And this is where people are most likely to not be lactose intolerant. Okay, their bodies are still producing lactase. Now, does that mean they should eat dairy products? It does not mean that. Dairy products are harmful to every single person. What happens is that people who come up in these places, whose ancestry is from these places, their bodies are their culture. There's been some, I don't even want to call it evolution. It's not like we've evolved. It's not a positive change, but I mean, it's an adaptation. We've adapted to the presence of milk sugar constantly in the diet, people from these places, and so their bodies still produce lactase, but it's still toxic to us. So some of these factors, blood type and culture and where where you're from, these things, they have some effect on what foods your body can tolerate, but they have nothing to do with what we should be eating. What we should be eating: fruit and soft, tender leaves, and that never varies. It doesn't change from place to place. Okay, so let's see. Now I've kind of lost it here. Let me see if I can slide back up. Lao Tenzu says the quality of the food products here in Portugal is a lot better than that of the extremely industrialized and processed USA products. I don't know. I mean, I think, maybe. I've been all over the world, including Portugal, and see that processed food is crap no matter where you go. Now, it could be that there are more things available in where you are in Portugal that are actually still fresh, like buying fresh bread as opposed to buying, processed packaged bread, which is completely useless garbage. Maybe something that's been baked fresh is a little better, but this isn't healthy. What's healthy is fruit and soft, tender leafy greens. And in the US, you can buy high quality fruit and soft, tender leafy greens. Not always. Some of it's is not so high quality. But I spent 14 years there, living on a 100% raw vegan diet, and thrived and had no problem. Are you saying that the produce is better in Portugal? Well, maybe. I don't know. I mean, the produce I had in Portugal was delicious. The produce I get in the US when I travel is usually delicious. The produce I eat here is delicious. The produce I've eaten in most places is pretty good. There are some exceptions. I mean, unfortunately, if you're listening in from Scandinavia, places where there's a very short growing season, it's difficult to grow very much there. In Portugal, they can grow quite a bit. In Costa Rica, we grow quite a bit. Everything we eat here was picked within a week. In most cases, within 2 or 3 days. In some cases, maybe 5 to 7 days. In the US, most things you're eating were picked 4 to 6 weeks ago. Okay, if you're not buying, growing it yourself or buying it at a farmer's market, it was picked a long time ago and was probably never fully ripened and never will be. And so that's an issue. But other than that, I don't know. Latenzu, so can we assume that the average Portuguese 25-year-old body has a lot less toxicity than that of the average 25-year-old North American? I think that's a pretty significant assumption to make. I suspect, there are probably kids in Portugal who live on nothing but fried, processed crap, stuff that comes in little bags, potato chips, etc. I mean, that stuff is available there. And so I don't know that we can say that. I'm not sure why it's important, because really the important question is, are you making the choices so that your body is functioning at the highest level that your body is capable of functioning at? Who cares what the average person's doing? I mean, frankly, the average person is an idiot who has no intention of making healthy choices. They're not committed to their health. They're not going to do what's best for them. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer the question. I'm not sure what the answer is. We have a super chat. It is a €10 donation from Itak Yumsel. Itak says, "Hi, Loren, is there still a chance for people with asbestos disease to become healthier by water fasting, or maybe even cured?" Yes, absolutely. The asbestos disease is usually, at least my experience in the US, we would call that asbestosis. And this is a condition, for those of you who don't know about this, I mean, if you're young enough, you might not know much about this because it's probably much less talked about than it used to be. Back in the 80s, I believe, it first really came to light. And what became apparent was that there were a lot of products on the market, including, I mean, for instance, there used to be pipe insulation. In the old days, plumbing pipes, let's say in a cold, uninsulated basement or attic, would have been insulated with asbestos. And asbestos is a material that's mined, but the way it was processed, it was called friable asbestos. And so you'd wind up with these fibers that would be loose in the air. Once this insulation, this was like a plaster. And once you put it on the pipes, it was hard, it was dry, it was okay. The problem was when you decided to remove it. So if you had a plumbing problem and you had to take it off the pipes to access the pipe, or let's say today there's much better insulation available. And so you decided, okay, we want to remove this and replace it with better insulation. Once you started removing this stuff, now you've got loose particles. I mean, I actually, in the late 80s, early 90s, I was in the commercial real estate business. I used to buy small apartment buildings, a partner and I. We owned 6 or 7 of them. And one of the buildings we bought was a beautiful old historic building in Wilmington, Delaware. That's where my partner lived and where we focused our energy. And it was an old building built in 1896, and the pipes had been protected, insulated with asbestos, and we needed to have it removed. And it cost a lot of money to have a company come in and do this properly, because they had to wear, hazmat suits to handle hazardous materials. That's hazmat. They had to wear, respirators and masks and full suits with gloves that were taped so that the stuff didn't touch you anywhere. You couldn't breathe it. The stuff had to be disposed of in very specific ways to be as safe as possible. And so handling this stuff was a big deal. Today, we don't hear much about it because no one's using friable asbestos anymore. And most places that had it have probably already have had it removed. Now, there may still be a lot of it out there, but a lot of it's already been removed and replaced with something better because there's so much better insulation available. People that are faced with paying high utility bills are going to want to replace it so that they're using something that's actually better. So water fasting, these fibers get into the lungs and they get stuck there and they wind up creating damage, and it can become quite a difficult situation. They usually die painfully, and it's not a pretty thing. I've had a little bit of experience dealing with asbestosis and have seen some good results with it. Again, your body knows exactly what does and doesn't belong. Give it the chance. It's going to remove anything that it's able to remove, and it can remove these asbestos fibers. Now, it's not the easiest thing in the world for the body to do, but it is capable of doing it. We have another super chat here. Hang on. Oh, that's the first one. Okay, so this is Gino Alfonso. Gino says, "Good morning, Loren. I had a colonoscopy and it came back pristine. I then discovered that I have a had a severe small intestine constipation. Why did doctors seem to ignore the small intestine completely? That's a very good question. I don't know what the answer is. But, you know, Gino, I think you've been around and are probably aware of this. I've been saying for years, based on my 23 years of experience running Tanglewood, fasting thousands of people, and having fasted dozens of times myself, you know, I am aware that when you clean a body out, there is a lot of old hard material in there. I'm also clear that it's not likely to be stuck in the large intestine. I mean, by the time we complete a fast, it's moved down to the large intestine. This is where we're going to be eliminating it from the colon, right? But it's usually getting stuck in the small intestine. For anyone not familiar with the physiology, the ileocecal valve, where the large and small intestine meet, is in the right groin, okay? And, or just above the groin. And so that's where the small intestine stops and the large intestine starts. The large intestine comes up from there and comes up the right side of your torso, makes a gentle loop, and then comes across the belly about belly button height, loops again, comes down, and then turns toward the anus. And so it's going to be about the same length as your height. It's relatively short. It's 3 times the diameter of the small intestine, and it's relatively straight. It comes up, it loops over, it comes across, loops over, and comes down and out. That's it. There's no real tight turns. The small intestine, from the bottom of your stomach to the ileocecal valve, I'm 6 feet tall in my body. That's only about 12 inches, about 30 centimeters. In that space, there's roughly 22 feet of small intestine. So the small intestine is 3.5 to 4 times longer than the large intestine. It's 1/3 the diameter. It's all twists and turns. This is where stuff is going to get stuck. This is what happens. And so why, they do colonoscopies, colonoscopy. They're scoping the colon. They're not looking into the small intestine. Why not? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. That's where the stuff gets stuck. I've seen the evidence of this, again, fasting a guy twice now for 6 weeks, 2 times without a colon. And every single day, old material moving from the small intestine into the bag, okay? Because there's no colon. It's actually, he dumps his small intestine, now comes through an opening in his abdomen into a bag he wears around his waist like a fanny pack, in which he has to dump out. Every single day, 84 fasting days, dumping stuff from the small intestine into the bag every single day. This is what's happening. This is where this stuff is. So, it's important to understand that having a pristine colonoscopy, that means nothing in the large intestine. Yeah, congratulations. That's not where the stuff gets stuck anyway. This doesn't mean your body's clean. And Gino, I promise you, I guarantee you, if you fast with me for 21 days or longer, I guarantee you it would be the single most beneficial thing you've ever done. You wouldn't believe how you felt and function afterward. And B, fully eliminate pounds and pounds, many kilos of old hard material, which is stuck in the small intestine. Getting rid of that changes everything. It's a game changer, okay? It's a game changer. So, okay, let me go back up here, see if I can figure out where I was. Thank you both very much for those donations. This is what allows me to keep. I've talked about this the last couple lives. I'm sorry, I don't mean to beat you up about this, but the fact is, right now we're struggling to pay our bills because people can't come and fast. They don't know when they're going to be able to travel. Many people are reluctant. Now, let me say, if you know that you want to come here, I guarantee you it's the single most beneficial thing you'll ever do for yourself. Spend 4 weeks or more with us, you leave here a new person. I guarantee that. If you know it's what you want to do, and the question is simply, when can you do it? Okay, well, right now, I'm willing to give you a 20% discount. 20%, which is crazy. We've never done this before. 20% off of our current rates. Now, here's what happens. In December every year, our rates go up. Why? Because our taxes go up, our insurance costs go up, salaries are mandated to go up, food costs almost always go up. These are our expenses, and they go up every single year. And so we raise our rates a little bit every year. And so let's say you can't get here for 2 years. Well, 2 years from now, you're going to be paying 20% more than you're paying now. And if you commit now, you can pay 20% less. That means you're saving a lot of money. And that's by paying in full now. That helps us survive. It will help us survive. And it allows you to get a huge discount for something you probably need to do anyway. You won't believe how powerful it is. We have a $5 donation from Sherry G. Sherry G says, are you okay with distilled water with squeezed lemon for non-fasting days? Would you supplement with B12 if tests revealed you were deficient? Okay, so first of all, having a blood test that shows I'm deficient in B12 doesn't mean very much. Blood tests for B12 are notoriously, I mean, it's a very poor way to actually determine your B12 status, because we don't need B12 in the bloodstream. We need it in the cells, and so it doesn't matter how much is in the bloodstream. Someone who eats animal products is going to have tons of B12 in the bloodstream because that's where it goes when you eat animal products. It's going to go into your bloodstream. But what if you can't absorb it? What if you're not actually getting it to the cells, or your cells aren't able to use it properly? Okay, what if the cells can't do what they need to do with it? The fact that it's present doesn't matter. So if I had a test that showed I was severely deficient by looking at urine, and what happens is you can do a test for MMA, methylmalonic acid. If your MMA is high, it means your actual B12 is low. If I had any symptoms of B12 deficiency, yes, I would supplement with B12. Absolutely. Now, the first thing I would probably do is I would fast, because fasting allows my body to function properly, which means I'm able to access the B12 that's already being produced inside my body by bacteria that live in the body. Okay? We make all the B12 we need. The bacteria in the body make all the B12 we need every single day. And if your body works properly, you should be able to get it, which is why up until now, I've never had any evidence of B12 deficiency. I've been vegan 32 years and have never supplemented. And so, my guess is that as long as I continue to take good care of myself, there's no reason it should ever be a problem, and I'll probably never need to supplement. If it is a problem, if it becomes a problem, then supplementation, if it's a serious issue and I'm already noticing serious problems, yes, absolutely, I would supplement, and I would supplement right away before there's further damage, or in my case, I would say further brain damage, right? Because you can actually get brain damage as a result of B12 deficiency. Before further brain damage occurs, I'd probably want to go ahead and supplement. As a Band-Aid, it's a Band-Aid approach. It's not a good long-term strategy, okay? If you're not getting the B12 you need on a regular basis, it means your body is probably not working properly, okay? So the first thing I would do is I would fast to see if I could correct that, because chances are very good I can. And if I was unable to correct it and it didn't start to get better after fasting by eating an optimal diet, in that case, then I would begin supplementing. And again, if it was a serious problem, an immediate need for B12 right now because it's already reached a serious point, I would supplement right away as a Band-Aid approach. And then once I'd gotten my level up, then I would fast to see if I could actually correct the underlying problem, because supplements never correct the underlying problem, right? The underlying problem isn't that you're deficient. It's that either your diet is no good or your body's not working properly. So you have to address one of those or both of those issues to make sure you're actually addressing the underlying issue. If my diet's perfect, that's fruit and soft tender leaves, period. If my diet's perfect and my body works properly, I should be able to get everything I need. Up until now, I have gotten everything I need. I stay healthy and fit and strong without using any supplements by eating a small amount of fruit and salad. You can do exactly the same thing if you give your body the chance to cleanse and heal, okay? And again, there are going to be some brief commercial messages today. I apologize, but Folks, you're stuck at home, most of you. It's a perfect time to fast. It's hard to get food. You don't want to have to go out. It's a perfect time to fast. And I can guide you through the fast via Skype. And I've got more time because I'm not where I thought I was going to be right now on the other side of the world speaking. I'm here instead. I've got more time available. I can guide. I can take on another group. I usually work with 5 people at a time in a group. It's an hour-long call. It means you have a community of other people to be in touch with. You can support each other. You're going to learn not from your own experience only, but also from what happens with the other people. And if you're ready to take your health to an amazing new level, this is a perfect time to do it. And there's no better way to boost your immune system than by fasting. Okay? So I hope that answers. There was one more question. Am I okay with distilled water with squeezed lemon? No. Distilled water is unnatural. It's harmful to the body. It's negatively charged. It takes positively charged electrolytes from your bloodstream. I would never consume it. Why take something that's broken and try to fix it? Why use it at all? Okay? Put it in your iron. Put it in your car battery. Don't drink it. It's an unnatural thing. It's harmful to you. Get yourself some high-quality spring water. If you can find a spring nearby, right? I've got to walk all the way to the bottom of the hill to our spring. Actually, we have the water pumped up to the top here. This is spring water right here, and it's perfect. And there's nothing better than this for you because this is what's natural. This is what 25 million other species are consuming. They're not consuming distilled water. Okay, rain is not distilled water. Precipitation forms around solid molecules, so rain drops always contain something: dust, pollen, minerals. In most studies on rain, they find there are minerals present. So it's not distilled water, regardless of what people who know nothing about the subject and pretend to be experts tell you. It's not distilled water. Distilled water doesn't exist in nature, or maybe very, very little of it do perhaps. I haven't studied it, but it would make sense that's precipitating. When the air cools, it hits a solid object and precipitates out. If you were to consume only dew, you would be consuming distilled water. But that's different still because it's a natural process. Boiling water onto a stainless steel plate, it creates water that's very, very pure. But the purest water is not necessarily what the body wants any more than we want pure oxygen. That's not what our bodies are intended for. Okay, so I hope that's clear. I wouldn't use it. I would find higher quality water. And even on non-fasting days, obviously on fasting days, no matter what water you're using, you don't put lemon in because there can be nothing but water. So if you're adding lemon or salt or anything else, no matter what anyone tells you, you're not fasting. Okay, I've probably fasted more people than a long fast than anyone alive today. That's still working. Thousands of people through fasts averaging 26 days. Over at True North, the average fast is 10 or 11 days. Okay, they process a lot of people, but they're very short fasts. It's a completely different thing. They use distilled water, but short fasts. Their people probably can't go longer because they're losing electrolytes every time they drink distilled water. The kittens are going crazy here. 3 kittens playing. Here, with thousands of people fasted, we do not run into electrolyte problems unless someone, A, starts with an electrolyte problem or is vomiting repeatedly multiple times per day. Then we have to be careful, okay? But no, I wouldn't use. So on non-fasting days, if you put lemon in your water, every time your body sees lemon, its nutrients, it says, oh, there's food coming. And about a third of your energy goes to your digestive tract to prepare it for food. And there's no food coming. So you're wasting energy. So no, occasionally, if you want to have some lemon in your water, you're entertaining, you want to make your water a little fancier, add some lemon or add some mint or something, that's fine. But on a regular basis, just water, nothing else. Okay? I hope that makes sense. All right. Now, I want to make sure I haven't missed any other super chats because that's what happens. There is another one here. That's what I thought was going on here. There's a couple of them. Okay. So Sherry says, thanks, Loren. How's your hernia doing? My hernia is perfect. Thank you. It's still there. It's actually come down quite a bit. There's no discomfort whatsoever. I feel perfectly fine. So no issues there. How's your hernia doing? I have an incisional hernia. Vulgar Beauty asked if you're offering 20% off for Skype consults. I'm not offering 20% off for Skype consults. I haven't done that. And the Skype consults are, I mean, for us here, they're a low-cost item at $200 an hour. It's one of the least expensive things I offer, in terms of working with me. And so I have not offered a discount on those. But I'll tell you what I'll do. For those people here who are hearing this message, I'm going to give you 10% off on Skype consultations over the next week. If you book, it can be for next week or beyond. But if you book it now, I'll give you a 10% discount. Okay? For Skype coaching, for fasting coaching, I'm not offering a discount on that either. But I'll tell you what, I'll give you 20% off on Skype fasting if you book 4 weeks or more with me and pay in full. Okay? Because with Skype coaching, you already have an option that makes it really easy for most people to get involved. And that is, if you're working 4 weeks or more, you can pay 50% up front. So 4 weeks with me via Skype, where we speak every day and I coach you through the process and you become a new person, is only a $2,000 process. And for $2,000, I guarantee you take your health to a whole new level. Is that not worth $2,000? Now, I know for some people that might be really difficult, but for many people here, it's probably not that big a deal. And with a global economy, I mean, I'm reaching people right now in multiple countries. I don't know how many of you there are. There's 98 people, almost 100 people here right now. There are people from all over the world. And that means you can reach people from all over the world and offer something where, if you're in a country where money's really difficult, you have an audience, if you speak English, all over the world where money's a little bit easier. And that means raising $2,000 isn't that difficult to do. Okay? So now I'm planning, by the way, on fasting myself next week to see if I can help us a little bit. But honestly, no more pain, no discomfort. It's come way down. It's not 100%, but I'm feeling fantastic. I have not yet started to exercise again, but I'm feeling the call because I'm about to start fasting. It will probably wait now until after the fast. But I still feel fit and strong, but I always feel better when I'm working those muscles every day. And I've been going really easy because of this. I didn't want to put any additional strain on it. Okay. Thank you, Sherry. Alfredo has made a €229 donation. You take on tap water and water in bottles. Thanks. Tap water, if you're in Denmark or Sweden, they claim their tap water is perfectly fine. I believe that Sweden does, Denmark does. There may be some, our tap water here, if you turn on the tap in the bathroom right here, that's where I fill my glass up. It's spring water. It's spring water with no fluoride, no chlorine, just perfect spring water, which we have tested regularly to ensure it's still perfect because the conditions change when it's in nature. An animal could poop, whatever. We have it tested to see. But in most places, you do not want to drink tap water. And you can filter certain things out, but, if you're going to, the best way would be reverse osmosis. And you can probably buy a home reverse osmosis, a countertop unit for $125 or so, I think, where you can filter out all the chlorine, the fluoride, most of the garbage that doesn't belong. It's not perfect. It's better than distilled because it leaves about 10% of the minerals in, which means it's not going to take electrolytes from your bloodstream. That's my take on it. Bottled water, there's a huge range of bottled water. Unfortunately, plastic bottles are crap and break down. Ideally, if you're going to drink bottled water, you buy spring water in glass bottles. And it's not always easy to find. That's the best. Sometimes I'm traveling, I'm on the road. I drive I was in the capital 2 days ago. I needed to replace my passport, which had expired. And, it's hot. I'm driving around. Sometimes, I actually wound up drinking coconut water and didn't buy a bottle of water. But oftentimes, all I can get is a plastic bottle of water. Now, the good news is you get yourself hydrated and you don't need much water, right? That's the benefit of being fully hydrated is you need very little water because you're getting it from your food. Assuming your body's clean and well functioning, you fasted to clean all the old garbage out, and you're eating an optimal diet. And so my water intake is relatively low. I've sipped half a glass of water today. I've already done 2 or 2.5 hours of consultations. I've been speaking nonstop since early this morning. And, and I drink a little bit of water to wet my whistle when I'm speaking. It's already been 40 minutes. I haven't had a sip probably in an hour. So, there's a sip of water. It's going to last me quite a while, most likely. That's what happens when you're hydrated. You don't have to drink much water. And so it becomes much, much less of an issue. Bakul Dada has asked, any food options that have long shelf life? Well, unfortunately, real food is fresh food, and fresh food has a relatively short shelf life, and there's just not much we can do about that. It would be great. I wish I could say to you, oh yeah, no problem, you can go and they're going to last a long time. I mean, watermelons, a freshly picked watermelon will last you a week, maybe. At some point it's going to start breaking down. It's going to become less and less valuable to you. You can keep it longer in the fridge, but you want to eat your food at room temperature. So most fresh food, citrus, apples, kept in the fridge especially, have a relatively long shelf life, but they're losing nutritional value every single day. Okay, the nutrient content and the value of that food to you is going down every single day. So the best you can do is to eat whole, fresh, juicy, organic fruits, soft, tender, leafy greens. If you live in a place where you can't pick that stuff, if you live in a place like here in Costa Rica, in Florida, in Southern California, in Arizona, and South Texas, in many parts of Asia, in Thailand, in the tropics and in the subtropics, you can grow food 12 months of the year. And so if you live in a place where you can grow food, you should be growing as much food as you can. Plant fruit trees. Here we've planted 135 or 36, something like that, varieties of fruit. We're not harvesting it all yet. Some of them have only recently been planted. It's going to be 5 years before we're harvesting everything, and we're going to keep adding new things as we find them. But the goal is for us to have an abundance of food, way more than we could possibly eat, and then we'll share it with our staff. We'll have an organic market. We'll sell whatever we can't use here, but grow an abundance of food as much as you can. Plant fruit trees as soon as you can, because it takes them a while. You can plant some grafted trees because they'll start producing fruit much more quickly. If you don't know what a grafted tree is, you take a branch from a producing tree, you stick it onto a root, you cut the trunk of a tree that you're growing from seed. That's a hardy, let's say a hardy mango, but not the variety you want. And you put the two together, you wrap it with plastic wrap, and the two living pieces of wood actually grow together. And you can see, when you look at the trunk, there'll be a little knob there. You can see a grafted tree, okay? But grow your own food. Grow tomatoes and lettuce and cucumbers and all those things as much as you can. And if you're not able to grow it all, you don't have enough space, you can rent a garden somewhere. But in the meantime, go to farmers markets and buy as much as you can from local growers who grow organic produce. Okay, get to know your local growers. Go buy from organic markets. Now, if you live in a place where this isn't possible, if you live in Northern Europe, if you live in Southern Argentina or Southern Chile, or in some place like this, you're not going to be able to grow food most of the year. So my advice to you is move. Okay, and some people think, oh, that's silly. This is where my family is. This is where my work is. Yeah, I get it. It just depends. If you're really committed to your health, you should be living in the tropics because we're tropical animals. My skin wants to breathe. Honestly, I put on a shirt to make this call, to do this live, because I thought it might be a little bit disrespectful to be bare-chested. Some of you probably don't care, but some people might. I put a shirt on, talk to clients here, or via Skype, or when I'm doing a YouTube or a live. I've done a couple of recordings where I don't have a shirt on, but usually when I've got a shirt on for you, not for me. My skin wants to be exposed to air and sunlight, throughout the day, every day. And so every single day, it's shorts and flip-flops. I've got as little on as I can get away with without offending my staff and whoever else might happen to be around. Okay. So find a way to where we belong, and you can grow food. We literally can pick the food, and often do, every single day of the year. We're picking food off of our own trees, off of our own plants. I've got tomatoes growing right outside here. I'll probably pick some later on for a salad. I've got lettuce growing. We have we were harvesting bananas every couple days. We're harvesting papayas. We're harvesting granadas. We're harvesting mulberries. We've got passion fruit. We've got so many things, and many, many more coming. Find a way to do that. And if you want to live in an amazing community, we're creating that. Be in touch, because there's an opportunity right now to save money on that as well. If you're new, if you've been around, you've already heard this, but it's an amazing thing. And maybe soon I'll do another broadcast where we just talk about the community and what's going on, what that's going to be about. Okay, let me scroll down because I have a couple more super chats that have come in. Sherry G has said, when will you be done with your book? It's a really good question. You know what, Sherry? I am thinking, I haven't made this commitment yet, and I'm going to be fasting probably next week for a week or 10 days. I'm not sure yet. But by the way, well, let me finish my thought. What I'm thinking is, if most people can't get here in April when we're supposed to open, we're going to open. I mean, we're going to be here. If you can travel to us, great. Hopefully our borders are open by then. We'll be here. But, my guess is I'm going to have a lot more time on my hands than I normally do. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start moving my morning calls. I'm going to start them a little later because it's the best time for me to write. And I'm going to go back to writing every morning like I did for several months. I wrote 100 and some pages in a few months, and then I stopped writing because I was so busy. So my goal is to get this book done by the end of the year. And there's going to be revisions and editing and fact checking and looking for studies and all that work to do that I might be able to recruit some people to help me with. But the writing part is all me, and I'm not that far away from being done. So it may well be that by the time we have free transportation again, we're allowed to circulate, I've got a book that's in those final stages of getting ready to be finally to be published, hopefully soon. By the way, what I started to say before, thank you for the thumbs up. I see that 18 of you have said you like this. This is good. If you're here and you're finding this valuable, inspirational, entertaining, whatever, if this is good for you in any way, hey, please give it a thumbs up, and feel free to share this on your Facebook page, on your YouTube channel, wherever else you like. Flower Bomb has made a $4.99 donation. Thank you very much, Flower Bomb. With a question here: does eating 6 times a day, even with whole foods, later on make you develop insulin resistance or pre-diabetes? Well, it's possible. It depends. Wow, there's a big jump from 19 to 29 to 30. Thumbs up. Thank you very much. If you haven't already done this and you like it, please do. I appreciate all of you very much. I really do. It's possible. It's certainly not good for you. Okay. And I know, I just did a 1-hour consultation with a gentleman in India. And, I hear from people, yeah, I live in a poor country. I can't afford your rates. People do, from all over the world. And I know it might be a stretch for some people to make it happen, but folks, the information is invaluable. And of course, you're smart because you're here and you're getting a whole bunch of it every week for free. I'm going to be asking people, hopefully later today, we're going to get the Patreon page set up, and I'm going to be sending a letter to our list, and probably next week, saying, hey folks, listen, maybe you don't have a question, maybe there's nothing you're asking for right now, but if you're finding value, maybe you'd be willing to contribute so I can keep doing this. Because pretty soon, if things continue with these travel bans and people can't circulate, all the flights have been canceled and our clients can't get here, I'm going to have to figure out how to earn some more money, because most of our income is what happens here. Now, I'm already seeing a big pickup in Skype coaching. I'm going to be doing a lot more of that, and that's probably going to fill in the void. In the meantime, we're actually needing some help. To make this project continue, we're going to need some help. So I'm just asking people, hey, if you're finding this content valuable, maybe you'd be willing to support. Anyway, thank you very much. So there are people out there. This guy, his doctor said, no, you have to eat every several hours a day, okay, because you've got diabetes. It's the only way to balance your blood sugar. And I said to him, we have 80 or 82 type 2 diabetics like him taking medication to keep their blood sugar balanced and still struggling to do it. His blood sugar is still too high, even with the medication. We have 100% success eliminating type 2 diabetes so far. I can't promise it's going to work for everyone, but so far, every single person completes their process with me with perfect blood sugar, no need for medication. And as long as they keep eating fruit and salad, it stays that way. Okay, the fruit is not a problem. People think it is. It's not. It's not an issue at all. Okay, that's what happens over and over again. So that's what I would recommend doing. John Simpson has made a $5 Canadian donation. Thank you, John, very much. Thank you, Flower Palm. John says, any tips for those that burn easily? When retreating to the shade to avoid burning, how long should you wait before going back to the sun? It's a good question. Unfortunately, there is no easy answer because there's so many variables. It really depends on just how sensitive you are, John. It depends on where you are and how strong the sun is and what time of year it is. All those things are factors. The first thing to do would be, the immediate thing would be to clean up your diet. If your diet's not already perfect, make it perfect as quickly as possible, because a big part of sunburn is toxins coming through your skin. Your body, the exposure to the sun means your body is encouraged to eliminate through the skin. We detoxify through the skin in the presence of sunlight more than we normally do. And that's going to irritate your skin. That's going to show up as burn. Of course, too much sun itself is going to do that no matter who you are. I mean, the darkest skin African person can still get sunburn if they get overexposure to tropical sun. So you need to be careful, but I can't give you specific advice without having a lot more details. This is where talking to you, maybe doing a consultation, would be more useful to actually talk about what's going on for you. Fasting to cleanse the body so there's no detoxification necessary through the skin makes an enormous difference. Most people find, most raw vegans find, they can tolerate much more sunlight than they could before. Now, can you still have an issue? Absolutely. As those who've been around for a while know, what you see here is the result of severe sun damage. Okay, and this has happened with one severe sunburn and then repeated exposure to tropical sun after that. And I've actually got a stack, because I come in and I take them off and then I don't put them back where they belong. So here I've got a stack of ball caps. I think there's 5 or 6 of them here. I hate wearing anything on my head. I hate it. But when I go out, this is what I look like. Okay, I do this to protect my forehead and the top of my head, which doesn't have as much protection. My hair is not as thick as it used to be at 59 in a month. And so, yes, you can still, I live in the tropics. I'm outside a lot. I have to wear protection now. I don't want to, but it's safer for me to do that. But I body surf. And when I body surf, I'm not wearing anything on my head. It just doesn't work. And so I'm still getting sun exposure here. And I fasted many times since then. I don't know. It's been probably 17 years. I actually did this before I moved to the tropics, right here on this peninsula in Costa Rica. I came down and spoke for 2 weeks at an event on the beach, and right here on the Nicoya Peninsula in Montezuma many years ago. And I got a severe sunburn my first day here. I took a long walk without a hat, and it was in the wintertime. I'd been up north and not exposed to much sunlight, and I severely burned my forehead and have never fully recovered from that, and maybe never will. You want to be careful. You want to be cautious. But I can't give you more specifics, unfortunately, without knowing more about your situation. I'm sorry. Alfredo has made a €5.49 donation, who says, what about short fasts every once in a while? 72 to 80-hour fasts every couple of months? Are they totally useless in your opinion? It's a really good question. It's something I talk about from time to time, but obviously something that I'll address for you right now. They're not totally useless. However, it takes the body 10 to 11 days to get to the deepest part of the process. So fasting for 3 days, or 3 days and 8 hours is 80 hours. It's not particularly powerful. I mean, the average person begins to go into ketosis somewhere between day 2 and day 3.5, depending on body composition. The more muscle you have, the longer it takes, because the more muscle your body is content with giving up. And so when we're talking about tiny amounts of muscle, it's not like you see your biceps shrink over the course of 3 days. The difference is virtually undetectable for most people, but there is some muscle being consumed. And so, to get to being fully in ketosis, and this is important because we store toxins primarily in body fat. If we're not in ketosis, we're not doing as much cleansing. It's just not that useful for most people to do these short fasts. Now, the first one is going to be useful because you're going to be doing some surface level cleansing. But if you maintain optimal choice, I mean, the people who rave about the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting are people who eat a poor diet. I mean, don't get me wrong, overeating is never beneficial. I intermittent fast. I eat all my caloric intake most days. I mean, 99% of the time. There are some exceptions, but 99% of the time it's 2 meals a day, roughly at 2 and 6, 4 hours, 20-hour fasting window every day. And it's a good thing. It's helpful. It's beneficial. It's healthy. It's good, and I'll keep doing it. There's no reason to change. It's what works. But if I have something serious, I'm holding up my hands because I've broken 7 of my fingers, 2 of my toes, both my knees, 2 ribs, and my right hip, all in different fun things. Rock climbing, surfing, motorcycles, quadricycles, skiing. I think that's all of them. In each of these cases, well, some of them were just like, I was doing a pull-up once on a bar. There was rope supports. They broke. I fell 5 feet onto my knees onto the concrete, and my kneecaps were not happy. So with each of these things, why was I telling you that? I fasted, and if I have something serious to heal, a long therapeutic fast is what's going to do it. If you're trying to take your health from wherever it is now, maybe it's pretty good, but not perfect, and you want to create an amazing level of health, wherever you are now, doing a series of 3 and 4 day fasts isn't going to be very useful to you. It's just not that beneficial. And as I said to you earlier, just a minute or two ago, we go through this phase where the body's consuming muscle as its primary source of fuel. So what happens if you do a series of 3-day fasts is you're consuming muscle and you're never doing any deep cleansing. For me, the time to do a 3 or 4 day fast is when you wake up with a head full of mucus, or you wake up and you've got a high fever, or you wake up and you've got a belly ache, or there's something going on in your digestive tract. Your body is clearly telling you, don't eat. That's what happens with an acute crisis, is there's no appetite, there's no desire for food. So if your body is saying don't eat, that's the perfect time to fast. You should be fasting. Okay, listen to your body. Your body doesn't want food, don't eat. But doing this on a program basis regularly is probably not that beneficial. You'd be far better off finding a way to take off 3 or 4 weeks, even if it's only once every 2 years. And do this 3 or 4 times with guidance. Let me guide you through the process. Alfredo, find a way. If this is a challenge, find a way to raise the money to let me guide you through the process. I guarantee it'll be far more beneficial. And then adopt an intermittent fasting protocol yourself, where you're giving your body some time every day to cleanse and heal, never overburdening it, never overeating, never eating the garbage that doesn't belong in your body, and you won't feel the need to do a series of 3 and 4 day fasts. Okay, hope that helps. Tom has made a €10.99 donation. Thank you so much, Tom. I really appreciate that. Tom says, thank you, Loren. Just thank you for all the precious and important information and for being there on a regular basis. Tom, that is so kind. I truly appreciate the donation without even asking for anything in return. I mean, folks, you're welcome to ask a question when you make a donation. Don't get me wrong. I don't begrudge you at all. This is the way this works, and I'm happy to do this. I'm really grateful to Gazelle, who produces my videos and who set this up, because I'm such a techno idiot that I didn't even know this was available. Like, I mean, I'm sitting on stuff, it's not happening. I'm the roadblock because I'm like, how do I do that? And I'm so busy with other things, it's easy. My attention gets drawn to stuff I know how to do, and the other stuff I don't even get to. So this wouldn't even be possible if it wasn't for Gazelle. Thank you, Gazelle. I love you and I appreciate you. And Tom, I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. I really do. But thank you each for just speaking up and being willing to show up and make a donation, because it really helps. It makes it possible for me to spend an hour with you. Okay, that otherwise would be. Today, I am literally booked back to back with appointments all day. That's great because we need the income right now. But if to spend an hour on a call without having an income from it is becoming more and more difficult to do when I'm truly depending on everything coming in just to pay our bills right now. So thank you so much, each of you. Sherry has made another $2 donation and says, I can help you proofread your book if you need it. Thank you very much, Sherry. Maybe remind me when the time comes. I'm not sure if I'll remember that, but when the time comes, remind me, and I'll be happy to send it to you for your proofreading skills and opinions. I mean, I am gonna use some professionals as well. I'm not sure, we haven't settled on a company yet, but we're going to be using a hybrid publisher where they offer various services, and I pay for those services, and then wind up benefiting from the sales of the book, where you go through a conventional. I mean, I haven't even looked into conventional publishers because the authors get so little from it, and they have to do all the work to market it, or there are no sales. It's not really about the money from the book. I mean, not unless things don't change. If things don't change, then the money from the book could be the difference between eating and not eating. If we can go back to a normal economy where we stay full here all the time, then we don't have to worry about the money from the book. But still, it doesn't make sense to me to do all this work and have almost no benefit from it. If I'm going to be doing all the marketing anyway, I might as well benefit. So I probably will be using professionals, but I appreciate that. Mark Tassi has made a $10 donation, and his question is, thanks. Mark, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you. I appreciate the donation very much. Okay, we have Venta Siddham, who's made a donation. I don't know what this symbol is, but it's 5,000 something. It's not dollars. It's not dollars. That would be crazy, and I would love you, but I love you anyway. But it's not that. I don't know what it is. It's a symbol I don't recognize. So it's obviously currency from somewhere else. I guess YouTube works. Takes various different currencies and converts them, because I'll get paid in dollars, but I have no idea what this is. It doesn't matter. Thank you very much. I'd like to be able to say what it is, but I don't know what it is. Hello, I've currently been suffering from topical steroid withdrawal, red scone syndrome, or steroid addiction. Any advice? It's so painful. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have much advice. I mean, if it were me, if you're off the steroids, that's great, because obviously using them is problematic. And one of many problems is that this can occur sometimes. When you get off of these creams, your body is unhappy because it's been relying on them. And now the creams obviously didn't fix anything. They just treat symptoms. My advice to you, if you're willing and able to do it, would be to fast. And, again, most likely you're looking at 21 days or more. That's something that should always be accompanied by experienced guidance, right? I mean, fasting that long without guidance, it would be irresponsible of me to encourage anyone to do more than 5, maybe 7 days on their own. I'd be happy to guide you. Feel free to contact me. Any of you here, folks, again, we have this amazing opportunity right now. I mean, it may not seem like an opportunity, to be quarantined or, being strongly encouraged not to leave your house. But the fact is that this is an opportunity for personal growth that isn't always available, because oftentimes life is so busy and there's so much else going on. Right now, you can focus on yourself. You can focus on your personal growth, and you can focus on your health. And I would be very happy to guide you through a process that would allow your body to actually heal the underlying issue and heal from this addiction, this red skin syndrome. So let me know if I can help you. You can email me, Loren@tanglewoodwellnesscenter.com. I'll be happy to help you. You can go to my website, tanglewoodwellnesscenter.com, and use the Contact Us tab there. Anything I can do to help you, I'm happy to do. But the most powerful thing you can do, I mean, right now, immediately, if you're not already eating as clean as possible, change your diet, sip at least 4 liters of water every day. These are things you can do right now all by yourself. The most powerful thing you can do is to go through a guided fast to allow your body to heal as completely as possible. Contact me if I can help you. I'd be happy to do it. I'm available to all of you. Let me know. This is a perfect opportunity. We don't know how long it's going to last. Grab it while you can, because this is an opportunity that may not come around again for a long time. Okay? We have a $10 donation from Tony Jansen. Tony is family. Tony and I met on a lecture tour many years ago. I don't remember how many. I'm guessing it must be close to 20 years ago, 18 years ago, something like that. I was speaking in Indianapolis, and Tony lived in a city not too far, and he came with his wife to hear me speak. Apparently liked what he heard, was moved, came and fasted with me, stayed on and did an internship with me, and has since referred various people to me. At least 3 or 4 people have been here on Tony's referral, and Tony has been back probably 3 or 4 times over the years. And so Tony has become family to me and has made a $10 donation, not asking anything in return. Thank you, Tony. You know I love you. I really appreciate that very much. Tattooed Woman has made a $5 donation and is saying, do you know the cause of Hashimoto's? So Hashimoto's, for anyone not familiar with it, is a thyroid disorder where the thyroid's not functioning properly. I do not know. I don't think medicine knows. I don't think science really knows the cause. But I can tell you this, science's approach to thyroid problems is completely screwed up. If you are hypothyroid, which means the thyroid is not producing enough hormones, what they do is they give you hormone supplements. If you are, and that's the least problematic. I mean, that's not a pretty thing, because your body in real time, a healthy body, thyroid gland lives here in real time. Your thyroid is determining exactly how much of the various thyroid hormones it needs, and is secreting them in real time to meet the body's real time needs. I'm noticing I'm 5 minutes over. I'm going to have to go in just a moment. However, I have a call, unfortunately. He'll wait a few minutes. So if you're hypo, you're going to be taking thyroid hormones, which, it means that you constantly have hormones coming into your body, which might not be what your body needs. Much better to have the body doing, because the body does it perfectly when it's working well. If you're hyper, it's much worse, because if your body's producing too many thyroid hormones, too much of this stuff, what medicine does is it either surgically removes the thyroid gland or destroys it with radiation. And now you are stuck taking thyroid hormones for the rest of your life. So fasting can allow the body to heal from Hashimoto's and other issues. Oftentimes with thyroid, it will take 2 or 3 fasts to do it. Each fast is going to improve the situation. Sometimes we see it heal with 1 fast, but in many cases it will take more than 1 fast. And of course, the key is to make sure you're making perfect choices in between. I can help you with that. I'd be happy to do it. Tattooed Woman, let me know if I can help you further, and thank you for the donation. We have another one here from Melly Adams. Melly says, herbal teas, black coffee during a water fast? Absolutely not. Vitamins, etc.? Absolutely not. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, let me be clear. Herbal teas contain nutrients because they're made from plants, you know, whether it's mint or hibiscus or whatever it is, there's nutrients coming into your body, and that means you're not fasting. Okay, to enter fasting physiology, that means no calories and no nutrients. You cannot consume any vitamins. You cannot consume anything made with plants. You cannot do it. You do not need any of these substances, and if you take them, you're not actually fasting. Now, today, there's a lot of people, oh, it's okay. It's a minor thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect anything. It does. It does affect things, and we're never going to improve on nature. Look at the other 25 million species. If they have something they need to heal, whether it's an injury or it's toxicity, something they consumed, or whatever it is, they will lay down and stop consuming anything. And that's the way to do it, okay? That's the way. Honestly, Melly, if you want to fast and you want to see an amazing shift in your health, you need to have guidance. Let me help you, okay? Write to me with, again, for, you know, if you just got here with Skype fasting, 50% down, and the balance over the course of a year in monthly installments, or I'll give you a 10% discount if you pay in. You know what? I'll make it a 20% discount if you pay in full now for Skype fasting. Okay, that's 4 weeks or more. Only for 4 weeks or more. The other ones are so short. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do a discount on those. That's, you know, to me, it's just not. I'm sorry, but anyway, 4 weeks or more, 20% discount. You know what? If you really can't do that, you need to do less than. I'll give you a 10% discount if it's less than 4 weeks. So 1, 2, or 3 weeks, 10% discount. 4 weeks or more, 20% discount. It almost makes it not make sense to do less than 4 weeks. Okay. I hope that helps you. And I'm going to move on because we have another $14.99. Stephanie, thank you so much. Stephanie is another. I'm going to call Stephanie a friend. I mean, Stephanie fasted with me 4 or 5 years ago. She's a member of our community, the Forming community, and you know, she was here for the Fruit Festival just a few weeks ago, and I know had an amazing time. And Stephanie, I really, really appreciate the donation. It's very generous of you. You know, you've already invested a lot, and I appreciate that very much. And I appreciate this too. Folks, I have to get going. It's been a real pleasure being with you. You know, again, if you haven't given this a thumbs up and think that it's thumbs up worthy, please do. If you've enjoyed this and think it's valuable for people, also consider sharing the link to this live on your Facebook page, on your YouTube page, anywhere at all. You know, to individuals, you can email people a link if you think they need to listen to this. You know, the bottom line is we can enjoy, every one of us, an amazing level of health and vitality. The key is the way that body's needs were meant to be met. If you don't know how to do that, I can help you. I mean, you've got nearly 600 videos on my YouTube channel that are available to you for free. But if you want some coaching or need some guidance, I'm happy to do that. You just have to set it up with me, okay? You know, if you're ready to take it to the highest level possible, fasting is the pinnacle. If you do it long enough and properly, it's amazing what happens. I know you're a genius. I know you're capable of creating amazing things. This is the way to do it. This is the way to manifest your potential. It's been great being with you. I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye-bye.